All right, so we did promise, EV builds, and with EV builds comes electrical. So here it is, right here, our first battery box. This will be the front battery box that you saw up in the car that Austin had kind of put together up there. So this is the hot side, the electric side, and normally, we would use these gloves. These are rated for, I think, like 1,000 volts, which this is only going to end up being like 40 because they're not fully charged. 20 and 20, 40 total once they're connected. But to kind of show you stuff today, I probably won't use these, but here is the rubber internals. And this is similar to like what linemen that work up on the power lines you see using, except theirs are rated for like 17,000 volts or something crazy. And then gloves to protect the plastic. Like I said, I'm not going to be using those just for this video because I'm not going to be touching anything, and we've still got, protective tape in here covering all that, and it's just, low volts right now. All right, so like I mentioned, these are two of the batteries of the 7. This right here is a bus bar. This will essentially go up in here, and again, it's on, protective pieces, so it's not making contact. But that'll go like that to kind of show what that does, and that'll essentially connect the two batteries together there. But then we've got to get the power out of this battery to the next battery pack that's in the back, and the other side of this battery pack is going to go to the controller. So the positive side of this, I think that's what my schematics that I drew up are working out. The positive side down here, this one will come out here and go into what's another one of these, that push button, quick release, there you go. Put it back on there, clicks in, that way you can take this battery box in and out without cutting wires or touching any, high voltage stuff. It should come right in and right out. So that'll go right here and connect to the positive side here. You saw the bus bar from the negative to the positive here. And this positive here, all your battery boxes, the batteries you have together, you kind of want them to fuse just in case that area has issues, or even like a wreck and there's a short. You want it to kill power pretty much downstream or in the cycle. So this fuse, if there's any kind of overload, this fuse is going to go out here. It's a 400 amp fuse. And so what we've got here, we've got it attached down there. Don't have the top attached, obviously. So that's right there. And then I've got this other one here, which will go up in here. And this will go here, and that's our negative side. So the negative comes down here, through this and up, and then back out, which will then connect to the rear battery box. So that's the voltage side, the actual power side. For the battery management system, I don't know if you saw this little wire here. This is the sending wire that just comes out here, and it will go to the battery management. This is one of the satellites here. Since this is the front box, this satellite will go to another satellite in the back, which will then go on to the main battery management control board. But this one is a satellite for this. So, and what this does is this takes all the data from these boards here and essentially tells this this box and ultimately the main board kind of what's going on with the batteries. There's some thermistors here, so you got temperature, and all your white wires here are for each individual cell. There's 6 cells in each battery, so 12 total cells. So we've got 12 total wires kind of set up that just plug right in. They literally plug right in. It's really nice. These newer Tesla batteries, they have plug-ins instead of have to solder. But what's really nice is that once you get all this done and you do your checks with a somewhere. there is a little board here that you can check your wiring to make sure you've got everything right. So here, if you plug this into the box, into one of the batteries, and over here, and you do your contacts, so you got ground here, cell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, since we only have 6 in one battery module, 7 through 12 are going to read the same. So if you go through here, you're going to go up incrementally, like 2.8, 6, it rounds. So, it's like you get up to 20 volts. And like I said, these don't get shipped at full voltage. So it's not going to show 25 that each module is rated for. But it'll at least help you ensure that they're balanced and you've got your wiring, done correctly. Because if you wire all this up and you put it together and then all of a sudden your software is saying, hey, I don't see this cell or that cell's doing something wonky, it's not balanced. You have balanced batteries and you wired it right before you put it all together. So that's what's nice about this little checking board. So you saw how I was kind of putting that other one together. Here is our back battery pack. We're not necessarily fully ready to reveal it yet. That'll probably be in some snazzy pictures. But you can at least see this battery box is done. It just needs the panels, but the wiring is done. Yeah, these are hanging there. They'll attach to the panels that go on, but for this video's purpose, I've left them hanging. So here's the BMS that we were talking about on that other box. One of the satellites. Here's our, the IPO, IMO, IPI, IMI. These are the kind of the sending wires between all the different, the different satellites, and then the master kind of BMS right here. And so what we've got here is another fuse, because each box kind of has its own fuse, the front of the car and the rear of the car. Everything's torqued down. You got your bus bar, got everything plugged in, thermistors, our LTC wires, and then we come over here, shoot over here, we bring these sending wires over here. So, this is the middle box in our series of BMSs. Then that front satellite has to get to this essentially. So what we've got here is we've got this wire coming out here, a little quick connect that comes up through and over and sends the information from that front satellite to this, and then this one sends it back over here to the master. So that's kind of the sending there. And then there's not too much in here outside of the LTC and thermistors for this middle pack. There's just one pack in here, module, and high voltage wires. And then again, here's our master with a few more connections on it, which we haven't done yet up here. But then you can see this one's pretty relatively clean because there's no fuse. And not really a lot of, high voltage wires running around like some of these other boxes. But that's what a completed one kind of looks like. A custom battery box. There you go. All right, so Mar Electrical EV. That's what this is. Kind of got everything mocked up back here for these last few components. We've talked about the chargers here. There's dual chargers on this one. Just to handle the capacity of batteries. We've got the dual motors just to make sure we're charging at the correct rate. The DC to DC converter right here. Right here is our main shutoff. So the battery boxes, you just saw, there's going to be a positive coming out and a negative coming out. These are both come into this junction box, which there's going to be a panel on the back here in this little area. And that's where we'll have all of our fuses, because we'll want to get more fuses on here for this power to go out to, the controllers and all this other stuff here. And from there, we've also got our auxiliary things, so like our AC condenser, our AC compressor, the DC to DC. The controllers actually have a secondary high voltage switch, and then of course the charger's coming in to charge it all. So all of that stuff comes together in this junction box. It's right here in the middle, and we've got some cool little things I mocked up here for the controllers, the 2 wires going back, which is the hot and or the negative and positive coming from the junction box, and the 3 below, which go to the motors. So we've got the 2 battery boxes. The last little bit here is connecting them. This is some more of that cinder wire for the BMS, and then of course the high voltage wire. And luckily this car has convenient conduit for us. It has the inflow and outflow for the previously known as radiator. For the hot ICE engine in the back, we're going to use that inflow and outflow tubing from the front to the back for the high voltage wire, so nice conduit. And then there's a small little piece of tubing that goes from the front to the back, which will perfectly fit the sending wire for the BMS. And just like that, we've got some lovely conduits. So I'm going to get all that ran, but that pretty much takes care of the idea of the electrical part of all this. And next time you see this, we should have everything together, because you've seen the placement of all the components, you've seen the plumbing, you've seen the electrical now. So now it's just time to button it all up, put it all together, and get these wheels turning. So we'll see you then. Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Boom, nailed it.